All right, guys, it's Copper Cutlass, and it's Sunday, so we're kind of unwinding and working on our engine. What's up, Finnegan? So, um, I took some dimensions of this pan kind of roughly. So what I did is I took my magnetic machinist straight edge, put it on here as level as I could, and measured from the edge to the floor at the shop in a flat area. And I got 240 millimeters. So I'm using European cunt hairs as measuring units because I really want to get it closer, and I'm used to using metric at work as far as measuring frames out. So, like, I think 3 millimeters is roughly like 1/8 of an inch, I want to say, something like that. Roughly. But the main thing here is to mimic this. So, I'm not mimicking anything, actually. I have to make a custom pickup because we stole the oil pump, which was a Melling high volume, and the oil pan, which was a Moroso, and its correct pickup, and we put it on the engine that's in the car now. As you guys know, over the summer, the engine with the number 6 heads, the 355 with the number 6 heads that we did all that fall testing with, we lost oil pressure due to broken pump gears. Well, what that pump was, back in the day, Kenny Bell used to sell Oldsmobile high-performance stuff made by, I believe, Dave Smith. And he pretty much did all of the Oldsmobile parts for Kenny Bell, if I'm correct. Again, I've done a little bit of research. So this is a custom-made oil pan that's been extended to stock pan that's been extended to hold 2 extra quarts. Now, what they used to do with the oil pump was they would mill a spacer and stack up gears and weld them. Well, one of the welds failed. No surprise, it's like 40 plus years old of abuse and stuff and whatnot. And after we were doing everything with it, it just took a shit. So I scrapped that pump because obviously it broke. But I have a stock one here that my buddy Dave gave me. It's made in the USA. It's a stocker type one. It's not a high volume. We got a high volume one in the engine. I'll show you guys. But I also bought a couple of pickups. I bought a stock bolt-on type pickup for the Melling high volume, and I bought this pickup that I think is like for a Ford. It had what appeared to me to be the right bends, and I already did the hard work of using my tube cutter and opening my beer and cutting this, and without hurting myself, I managed to get it all nice and cut. And it actually may fall really right into the right spot. So I got the oil pump just bolted in place with a pickup, but it looks like this is almost going to be pretty good. Obviously it's going to drop, but we need this to drop. You can't bottom this out on the pan, otherwise you'll create suction. So actually what I'm going to do to prevent that is I am going to put a little strap across here and weld it, and then take this off and go ahead and get this into position. Then I'll show you guys what I'm going to be doing. But again, the reason why I have to do this is because there is no like specific oil pump pickup for this oil pan. I've looked up heights and they're off, and it would require modification, and so I figure I would just buy a couple of these cheap $4 or $5 pickups and make my own. So I had a spare oil pan. I cut the sump out of it and I welded this strap. Obviously you guys see here I misspelled Kenny Bell. It's only, there's no E, but it's Kenny Bell pan, 240 millimeter deep, hold back, pick up 5 millimeters, which is roughly about 1/4 of an inch. Might want to double check on that. I thought it was an 1/8 quarter. I think it's an 1/8. But regardless of whatever that's not important. The important thing is that we're making our own pickup because we kind of have no choice, and we stole from Peter to pay Paul, and now we have to pay everybody that's involved, and that means that we have to make our own pickup. So once we get everything set up in place, marked up correctly, we're going to go ahead and get it TIG welded. I'm going to have my friend TIG weld it, and then we're going to probably test it for leaks, make sure that we're not going to suck in any oil through the pickup. And again, the deeper sump is not only for extra oil capacity, but the whole idea is to keep the crank out of the oil. You don't want windage, right? So, we're making this, and I'll see how this goes. I'll probably tape it in place and show you guys. So I'll let you guys go for a few minutes. This isn't going to be very long. My cylinder heads are ready. We actually have flow numbers. I'm supposed to be going up to my buddy's place next weekend, and maybe I'll let him explain better in detail about the cylinder heads. Obviously, they're J heads. We know that this engine went 1158 at 100 and almost 14 miles per hour on a garbage tune, on some bonsai runs, and I think we pretty much hurt the motor from day one with that wrist pin that walked out. I may have hurt it testing it in the parking lot at the shop, to be honest with you. Like, it just, you know, we had a hard time with the car wanting to stay running that night at the Grove, and I thought it was the charging system, but really I think it was the wrist pin starting to kind of make its house into the cylinder, and we were already kind of hurting the motor. So I think we may have made some of those runs on like 7 cylinders pretty much, but neither here nor there. Obviously, we're still trapping pretty good mile per hour, and this engine overall is pretty comparable to the engine that's in the car now in some components, in some sense, where it's kind of, we're kind of testing some theories here, but it's almost got a similar cam. Obviously, we got big block heads on it and an RPM. With the other engine that's in the car, it's got small block heads that are ported very, very nicely, and single plane intake. But keep in mind, the J heads that I inherited from Project Enron, which we did years ago, it's kind of sad to say that, when I inherited those heads were done way, way back in the day, before, you know, you had instant information at the, you know, at the tip of your fingers, and it was just, you know, somebody making do with what they had, and somebody ported them. And I think the numbers are actually not bad, to be honest with you. I think they're pretty good. They're not bad. It worked for us with this engine. Turned 7,000 RPM with an RPM intake, which is a dual plane. We had a combo spacer on there, tapered combo spacer on there, and J heads that were milled down to 67 cc. So I think overall we did pretty good. We just heard it. So enough rambling on. I'll let you guys go, and then I'll follow this. And it's almost like it was meant to be. I literally cut both pickups at the base. This is the original type pickup, which was a bolt-on type. I believe this is for a Ford. There's a little bit of a difference in the pickup diameter, but that's not a big issue. You could tell I work in a body shop because I use masking tape to mock stuff up. But this is roughly what we need to be happening here. And obviously I have some stuff to do to better do this, I guess. But that's our setup. I thought it was going to be more complicated than this, but apparently not. There's enough of a difference between the two where I can grind some of the diameter of this tube because it's pretty thick, and I can take a die grinder and remove some material out of here and kind of press fit them before we weld them. So actually that would be better than butt welding them, because then we'll have something to seal up against. The diameters aren't that big of a difference, but once it's welded, we can probably match these up a little bit more. I don't see it as it being an issue at all in that diameter pickup, to be honest with you. But that's what we have to work with, so that's what we got. And literally we are, you know, I may have to notch this part, which again, in this oil pan that I got, it was already like creamed and damaged. But you could tell where, one, I cut through it with the cutoff wheel, but this flange here, I may have to cut back on the Kenny Bell oil pan. As you can see, this one is unscathed, and it's going to end up being out of this side, so we may have to take a little out of here and bring it back to clear the pickup, but we'll cross that bridge once we get to it. That's not a major deal. This is in here just to keep oil in the sump to avoid under heavy acceleration for it to all go forward. I think it's like just a pretty basic standard thing. Obviously it will find its way back, and I actually think I should probably modify this a hair just to get some drain back easier kind of through the bottom, because it kind of has to go through all here, which I guess it doesn't matter when you're going on the track. It probably it's totally unrelatable, but I'm just rambling now. But yeah, we got it figured out. Now we just have to get it all welded up. And I might, if I'm going to overlap it, I'm probably just going to MIG weld it myself, because it'd be trickier butt welding it, especially with a thinner material like that. But if I'm going to be able to kind of almost press fit it, I'll probably just MIG weld it and call it good. So I think we're good. Now I can take this off and figure the rest out. See you guys around. Share, like, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I'm sure this video was boring and long. I didn't get anything really done today. It was an easy day, so hope you guys are enjoying it and following along. So we'll see you.